Welcome to today's episode of Jazz Beats, your number one podcast for jazz news and entertainment. Here are your hosts, Jackson and Tyson.
We're back. We're Jazz Beats. I'm Jackson. This is Tyson.
Hello, everybody.
We are happy to be here, despite the record of the Jazz the last few games.
Right.
We're still happy to be here.
Absolutely.
And where are we? Where are we, Tyson?
We're in 8th position overall, so we're still a playoff contender.
Yeah. I really meant physically. Where are we right now?
Oh, man. Pun intended. Or was it not intended? My bad.
No, it wasn't.
So right now, of course, as you know, we are recording at our studio sponsor, which is the one and only Fizz. I think they have like 8 million flavors of drinks here. No exaggeration.
None.
It's the best. This is the funnest spot to hang out. And if you haven't come down here to watch a game, you should definitely do it. They always have the Jazz games on here in the hangout area. Order some like the chips and
pretzels. They pretzels.
Oh yeah, and a drink.
Donuts.
Just go for it. I mean, it's a fun spot for the family to come hang out and watch a game.
And the owners, Andrew and Tanner, are freaking awesome. So shout out to them. If Andrew's saying it's true.
Yeah, fact check that, and then call us back on our online number 1-800. We don't have a number.
Like you said, the Jazz are in 8th now.
Correct.
After just a 4-game loss, we are 2-7 in our last 9 games and skidding hard right now. So we're going to
talk about those factors and what we think is actually making that happen, right? Like that's what we're here to discuss.
That's today. Yeah.
Okay.
Is we're talking about that. Before we get into that, thank you again for listening, watching, wherever you're at. We are on YouTube now. You can find us by searching Utah Jazz Beats on YouTube. Make sure you stay in touch with us. Leave a comment. We'd love to hear from you guys. So, should we get into it?
Let's do it.
Okay. In our minds, we've found 3 main factors of the skid.
Right. And it's tough because the Suns game was close too.
Yeah.
You know,
1 point
game. We played well. I mean, it was back and forth the fourth quarter. They were just always one possession ahead of us. So I mean, some of the games it's hard to really be hard on our guys with. But
okay, so option number 1 or reason number 1 is the schedule.
Okay,
has it been? Is that a valid excuse? I mean, professional athletes, everyone's traveling. We maybe have one of the worst schedules, but all teams are playing. We've played 22 games. We were looking, and most teams have played 20, 21 games, so we're not that far ahead of most games or most teams as far as games played. The travel has been brutal, but is that a good enough excuse to say why we're struggling?
I'm glad you asked that. Are we going to go through option by option, or are we just going to dive into each one as they come?
Like we normally do, we're just going to say...
This is it.
I have no idea.
Okay.
I have no plan.
I'm going to give you some facts here. Utah Jazz have indeed played more games than any other team in the West.
Ooh, okay.
That is a fact. We've played 22 games. The closest is the LA Clippers at 21, and the Warriors have also played 21. So
not a huge jump though. 1 game for a couple guys. Okay, go ahead.
But take into consideration the only other team in the NBA who has played the same amount of games as we have is in the East. Dead last place, Pistons.
Okay. Who beat the Jazz on this little stretch?
Oh boy, well that's just because we love Bogey so much.
Okay,
we just let that happen.
It was a home court thing for Bogey,
right?
Being in Utah,
right? His hand was dealt very well that game. Okay, so I mean, out of the 2 teams that have played 22 games, we're in first place.
Okay.
So run the stats back on that. That's correct. Another thing I want to mention. So we're 26% of the way through the season, 26.8. So we're close to a third of the way through. Got 60 games left. Okay, we're going to play 13 back-to-back games this entire season.
Okay, don't let me forget about we're 26% in.
Okay,
go on. I don't want to interrupt.
Okay.
This is good.
No, you're good. I love that. Okay, so out of 13 back-to-back games, okay, we're just over 0.25%. We're between 0.25% and 30% of the way through the season. Okay. We've already played 6 out of our 13 back-to-back. So that
just
means,
under half.
Yeah, just under half. So we have nearly, 70% of the season to do the other half of our back-to-back games. So there is definitely a high amount of travel and back-to-back games. 8 of those have been on the road, and 8 of those have been at home, and 5 have been on the road.
Okay, so we've been saying for a couple weeks now, I want to get 20, 25 games in before we even commit to saying how good our team is.
Right.
Okay, we are at 22 games, so we're right in the middle of that. And now, are we saying we need 10, 20 more games because for the schedule to balance out?
No, I get
Is that what we need now?
It's so tempting to do that.
I know.
Right? So, or are you happy with the status quo? Are you saying, okay, now we're 22 games in, we wanted to be at 25, we're at 8th place, we're the play-in playoff team. That's realistically where the data is true. Or are you saying it's still not right? We still have more to prove.
I'm on the hot spot right now. I think this is more us.
Okay.
Overall, like the last 9 games is not us. The first 8 games is not us, but the first 22 games of the season is us. We're about 500. We're in 8th place, probably pushing play-in game. If I were to make a statement right now, I think that's where we end up.
Okay.
Like we're gonna have our skids, we're gonna have our high moments, but overall, this first quarter of the season, I feel like is a good sample size for who we are as a whole.
And what's tough with that is we have 12 wins and we're in 8th position, and the Suns have 13 wins and are in 1st position. And we've lost our last 3 or 4 games in a row. So, I mean, is it fair to say, geez, you win 2 of those games and we're in 3rd or 4th place?
Yeah, that's exactly right. That's what's crazy. I love that the West is getting back to this. Seems like, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, the West was a dogfight from like 3rd through 10th.
Right.
Was just
and the
everyone
first 2
pushing to get in.
Were way ahead.
Yeah, and I think the West is going to be similar to that again. I'm just going to look up real quick the standings and see the difference between first place and you have it. Look at you. Tyson is like the prep agenda.
I'm
organized.
I'm like a professional printer, man. I print all day, baby. Let's go.
So between 1st and 9th is only 3 games difference.
Right. Which makes for a fun season. It makes all the fans be able to get involved and have a little bit of false hope on how well their team's going to do.
Well, that was the whole point of the play-in game, was to kind of reduce tanking a little bit and saying, I'm in 9th or 10th place. I'm probably not going to make the playoffs. Let's just lose and get a better pick. But now,
right,
it's like you got a chance to be in that play-in game and get to the playoffs and maybe make some noise and get an upset or something. The play-in game's fantastic. If the Jazz end up in the play-in game, that's going to be a very fun game or two to watch because everything's on the line.
I was going to bring that up. I'm glad you did. I'd be interested to hear what Jazz fans' opinions are on that. Would they want to see the Jazz enter the playoffs through a play-in game? Would they be discouraged that we're in that position, or would they find that entertaining?
I think most will say entertaining. Now, if we lose, I could see some people saying, screw the play-in game. That's what the Lakers did the year after the bubble. I think it was the second year of the play-in game.
Okay, yeah.
Lakers were in it, and they got beat out, I think, by the Warriors. And after that, LeBron was like, the play-in game's so stupid.
Oh, that's right.
Remember?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. But if he'd have won, he'd have thought it was the greatest thing since macaroni and cheese.
The Kraft kind.
Of course.
Blue
box.
Reason number 2, are you ready? Or what else you got?
No, I think we're
on
happy
the schedule.
With the season. Just really quick, a shout out to the Phoenix Suns because they are going to have 14 back-to-back games this season, and 2 of them are home games, and the other 12 will be on the road.
That's fun.
So that's incredible for them, and they're in first place. So I think you could expect to see, once they run into 12 more back-to-back road games, and they're only 3 games ahead of 9th place, I mean, don't expect to see them in first place is what I'm saying the entire season, because they have some roster issues that are going to challenge that position coming up.
And then you have good teams that are finally getting their stride, like the Warriors. They were absolute horrible the first. They've kind of flip-flopped the Jazz. They were terrible going into it. I think at one point they were like 4-8.
Right.
And now they're right behind us. They're at 11-10, 9th place, but 1-3 in a row, and they're rolling, and you could see them jump up into the top 4 too.
Easy. You can easily see those two swap spots. I do have to say, if it was a year ago and we had Rudy Gobert and Donovan Mitchell and Bogey and Joe and Mike and all these players, and we were doing the play-in game, I would be discouraged.
Yes.
I would be upset with where we're at. But with what we have now, I think like you mentioned, I think it would at that point be an entertaining game because that's what the whole season's been, right?
And then you take a step back too, and it's like, okay, we're in the playoff game. We got a chance to go to the playoffs, and we have 3,000 draft picks. Like that's just win-win for everybody. That's awesome. So that's exciting.
That. Okay, what's our second reason why you think the Jazz are starting to slip a little bit in position?
Reason number 2, and how many games has it been now? But our point guard, Mike Conley, has been hurt for a handful of games. Absolutely the last 4 that we've lost, he's been out.
Right.
How much do you owe this stretch to him not playing?
That's a good question. And Mike is he's not all stats as far as what he contributes to the team. It's a leadership, it's a poise. He's just a quality guy you want to have in your corner, whether it's locker room, timeout, or on the court. He plays a big impact. I do think that it's affecting the way that we're playing.
Absolutely. I think this is the number one reason.
This is your pick?
This is my pick. Okay. Number one reason is because Mike's been out. You just see the flow of the game change completely. Right. I mean, you've got Taylor Horton-Tucker coming in playing some PG, Sexton playing some more PG. Alexander Walker's gotten a lot of time. Right. And as far as Walker and Horton-Tucker, that's a brand new position for them to be like the lead guy with the starters. I mean, I know they're not starting, but they're getting starter minutes, playing point guard, facilitating the game, and that's something that I don't think they've been in before with this kind of team.
Right.
So, yeah, I think that's a growing pains there and some adjustment. You remember when Conley came to the Jazz and how much he struggled coming in.
Awful.
To a new team, new role, and I think that's what you're seeing now with some of these younger guys. Right. So I attribute a ton to that. We got to have Mike back. It just helps the flow go better. I think Clarkson plays much better with Conley there. I
agree.
I feel like he's struggled at times. He's gone on his runs, but he's also been out of character a little bit.
Yep. It's a good learning opportunity for, like you say, Horton-Tucker and for Sexton because they're having to step up, right? But this isn't the way that our team's going to play all season. So it's just out of funk, out of groove. We could easily go back 1 or 2 years and say we advance another round in the playoffs without Mike hurting his hamstring, right? So it's the same effect that we're seeing right now. Different injury, fine, whatever. Different point in the season, but his presence does cost us games. I'm glad that it is what it is, and it's not more serious as far as his injury goes. But I think as soon as he comes back, it's going to look like we're a mature team again. You know, where the flow will be right on the court.
Yeah, because I think our average age is like low 20s.
For sure.
22 or something,
right.
23. And just having Mike back just like you said, makes us mature, makes us, I feel like, smarter at the end of games.
Right.
That's where we struggled the most is in late games. We don't rebound well. We don't execute well. And Mike just bumps both those things up tremendously.
I feel like the only time we lose with Mike is when he has a bigger guard that really when Mike isn't as effective on the court, I should say, is when Mike is playing a bigger, more aggressive physical guard. That's when Mike struggles. But
Jalen Brunson was one example.
That's the perfect example. But when you really think about the Suns, the Warriors, I don't know. I think we're a great, even a better matchup against them with Mike on the floor. I think we can win those teams.
Agreed. Mike, we need you back. Rehab, regroup, get healthy, and it'll be fun.
Okay, so your vote was Mike.
That's my number one reason why the struggle.
Okay, for sure. Just lost a little bit of team identity, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah, interesting. Anything that you've seen that you've been impressed with? I mean, Kelly has been shooting the three incredibly well as he's been forced to do so. And I got to say, he's still just the ugliest performer on the court, but the ball does go through the orange circle at the end, which I'm very happy with.
Just the way some of his movements, when he gets off balance or gets to the rim, it's like so unnatural to me watching.
Right.
But he scores and he's effective, and I love Olynyk.
I think he's a sleeper. I think the whole league is sleeping on Kelly. I think that they're like, oh, step back here. Oh, he can make a three-pointer. It's incredible.
Well, that's what this whole team is so far. It's like all these pieces, we talked about it a few weeks ago, are pieces that teams have thrown away.
Right.
And they're moving on to their next chapter, and they're getting rid of these pieces. Olynyk, absolutely. Markkanen, is another one that's just way, I wouldn't say overachieving, but finally reaching that
Right.
peak. Sexton, they got Garland in Cleveland and said, Sexton, you're not the future. Get out of here. And it's all these guys that people have slept on, and I love it.
I mean, there's even been some rumor trades out there about Rudy Gay. I think the Atlanta Hawks approached Utah.
They said, we'll give you John Collins for Markkanen, straight up. And then, that was Danny Ainge's reaction, too.
That's a joke, right?
Yeah.
That's all a joke. Okay. So shame on any team who gives up on players that we take.
Right.
This is the NBA training camp, and we make every player better just by wearing a Utah jersey. That's just how it works.
Even these jerseys. Are you ready for number 3?
Yeah, option number 3, which I guess neither of us are voting for. Oh, was there 3 or 4?
We've got 4, but that's really not a reason for. Oh, I guess it kind of is.
Right.
I skipped over one. Go ahead.
So the last two are the Jazz actually intentionally tanking, or are the Jazz just actually not a good basketball team? They are just throwaway pieces, and this is what you get when you have awful players. Like, is that really why we're starting to slip, or is the last 5 games, like the first 8 games of the season, not enough data to make a conclusion?
We're better than it says on paper, especially at the start of the season. I don't think that's a reason. I don't think we're a bad basketball team. I think we are a maybe slightly above average basketball team.
Okay.
Which is the 8th seed, which is right where we are,
Right.
So I think that's where we are. Can you make noise in the playoffs being there? Absolutely. But I don't think this is the year we're gunning for either. So we're okay with being there.
Yeah, okay. So and you don't think the Jazz are tanking?
Mm-hmm. Again, players and coaches, I don't think tank.
Okay. So that's decided. Even if the Jazz, I don't think the Jazz need a tank for their future to be bright, for their future to be sustainable as a playoff team, as a deep playoff team. I think our roster and our picks that are in place already are I think we're pretty well set up. That's what I mean.
Yeah, and we're set up for like 2 years from now. Or even a year from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now. That's where we're set up. It's not really this year.
Right.
It's we never planned to be good this year. We never planned to have this year be our focus year, and this is where we have to establish everything, our players, our identity, our coaches' philosophy.
Right.
This is the year for flexibility and customization and figuring things out. And so I'm not worried at all about this year. Like, this is not the year of focus for the Jazz. And now, if we're having the same conversation in 2 or 3 years, and it's like we're the 8th seed, where are we at? Yeah, I'm getting discouraged again. But for now, I'm just enjoying the ride. I love our guys. I love the players. Love the personality on the team, and it's been fun.
Well, good. Okay, so I think we need to get to our next segment pretty quick, right? We've got Jace Campbell coming up after our word from our sponsors. He's on Know It or Blow It, so hang tight. We're going to see how well he does, and you guys got to play along as well and see how well you would do in case you get put on the show.
Okay, we'll have a word from our sponsors, from us toward our sponsors.
Yes.
Hang tight. We'll be back in a sec. So big thank you to DraftKings Sportsbook for sponsoring this episode. DraftKings is an official sports betting partner of the NBA. And if you're a new customer and you throw down $5 on a pregame moneyline bet and win it, the DraftKings is going to hook you up with $150 of free bets for the next one. So that's pretty awesome.
Everyone should check it out. You can earn up to 100% boost with the DraftKings Step Up Same Game Parlays. And I'm a parlay kind of guy.
You're the parlay guy.
Yeah, I mean, I like to run two bet lines together to see if I can quadruple my money.
Yeah. How does that go for you?
I'm not up as high as you are, but it's fun.
The fun one is on the regular DraftKings app. What do they call it? It's the
Flash Draft.
The Flash Draft. I mean,
That's
it's a high-paced, quick-thinking, decision-making thing, and it's a good time. You draft your guys in it.
I think that one particular kind of evens the grounds a little bit because you don't get to do all your research. You don't know what your options are until they come up on the screen. So, way fun option. Listen, you guys need to download the app, sign up with the code TBPN, place a $5 pregame moneyline bet on any NBA team to win their game, and get $150 in free bets if they do. Again, that code is TBPN only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply.
Also, big shout out to Central Utah Giveaways, another sponsor of the show. They are giving away one of those electric scooters.
Yes.
All you got to do is get on centralutahgiveaways.com.
Yes.
And enter to win there.
Entries are as low as $2, right? So $2 could win you a $600 scooter. There's 25 days left till that raffle is given away. So put your name in. Throw your name in the hat. I think that's how it works. But throw your hat in. Do something to win the scooter. For goodness sake, it's going to be way cool. New Year's Eve Christmas Eve giveaway. Even sooner. So you got to get in quick.
CentralUtahGiveaways.com. Also, shout out to Fizz. Apparently, they hand deliver your drinks too while you're here.
Yeah, so that's live delivery. Pretty bloody good.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to everybody's favorite segment on live podcasts everywhere in the United States. It's also known as Know It or Blow It.
We've got Jace Campbell coming up on the phone to answer 3 questions. Let's see if he is the greatest Jazz fan in the world or the worst of all time.
What? Hey, you want to handle 1, 2, or 3? What do you want to do?
What are you talking about?
Questions 1, 2, or 3. Which one do you want to hit up?
Oh, I don't care. Why don't you hit 1 and 3, and I'll middle it.
Good for
hit
you, sir. Good for you. Let's hope this guy's any good.
Let's see if we can get Jace on the phone. Maybe.
He's probably just doing his pregame jitters.
Yeah.
Some breathing.
Last-minute Google searches.
Breathing exercises.
Hello.
Hey, is this Jace?
Yes, this is.
Jace, this is Jackson and Tyson with Jazz Beats. How you doing, man?
Good. How are you guys?
Doing good. Hey, you are on Know It or Blow It. You got called out by your buddy James Cowser to answer a few questions for us.
Okay. Well, he's been bragging to me all week because he said he went 3 for 3. So.
Well, did he tell you he guessed on 2 of those questions?
Well, I figured he guessed. He says he knows it all, but I figured that he was bullcrapping and he guessed on all those.
A guess or no guess, you get it right, you get the credit. Like, you're the winner.
I did go listen to his episode, and he said he played against David Stockton, so he might have actually known that one. But the other 2, I feel like he was just pulling it out.
He was pulling it clear out of the air. He doesn't know what he's doing.
Let's see what type of magic you can do, man.
Are you ready to go?
We'll see.
Any last questions, thoughts? Do you know how this works? I guess you've listened to the most recent episodes.
Yeah,
so.
I listened to James or Cowser's. I know him as Cowser. So I listened to his, so I'm a little familiar with it, but yeah.
Okay, so we're going to give you 3 questions, and we try to ramp up the difficulty as they go. If you do not know the question off the top of your head, you do have the ability to pass and come back to that question. So don't just throw out a guess. If you want to think about it another second or 2, come back to that question. And then as far as the outcome, you get all 3 of these right, and you are the greatest Jazz fan of all time in the entire world. And if you happen to miss one of them, you are the biggest bust of all time and the worst fan ever. So high stakes.
I can't handle that. I have to be the greatest Jazz fan, or else I don't know if I can live with myself.
Good.
High stakes here. Tyson, why don't you give him question number 1?
All right, here we go, Chase. Question number 1. What Utah Jazz player holds the most points scored ever?
All time?
All-time Utah Jazz player.
Karl Malone.
Karl Malone. Survey says.
Yeah.
Good job, Jace. We're throwing you lobs here. So the second one, we're going to ramp it up a little bit. We're going to stay on the topic of scoring. Okay, so who is the highest scorer in Utah Jazz history that is still playing in the NBA today? So has the most points ever in a Jazz jersey, but he's an active player.
Oh, that is tough.
Oh.
Let me pass on this one. Let my brain think on this one. Marinate in it a little, and then I'll come back to that.
Okay, we're going to come back to that.
I like it. All right, question number 3. Name 3 current international Utah Jazz players and the country that they are from.
With the World Cup going on, we're thinking international, so that's where that came into play.
International. Okay, so I'll start off. Larry Markkinen from Finland.
Okay, there's one.
Foreigners. Leandro Bolmaro from. Oh, he's from Argentina, I believe.
Okay. That's 2, Jace. You got 2 of them.
That was not the one we were expecting people to come up with the answer on. Well done. Let's see. Who's your third and lucky guy?
And then the Canadian, Kelly Olynyk.
Boom, boom, boom.
Wonderful.
I love it, man.
Wonderful.
I don't know how I got the Bulmara one, but I, for some reason, remember him playing in Argentina.
That's a crazy one. There was a much easier one than that. But
which one did I miss that was easier?
I would have probably gone with Fontecchio because he's got more minutes than Bulmara.
From Italy.
From Italy, yep. Also, if you're curious, Alexander Walker is Canadian as well. And Azubuike reigns from Nigeria.
Nigeria, yeah.
So, yeah, you did well. Good job. You want to come back to this question?
Yes, I do. I got it. I can't go 2 for 3 or else
You're the worst.
Yeah,
you completely
I'm the worst. I can't do that.
Do we give this guy some options, or are we forcing his hand to come up with it all on his own?
Okay, so... Yeah, I feel like.
Why don't you, Jace? We'll do this for you. This is a one-time thing.
Okay.
Why don't you create yourself a multiple choice options,
so
and we'll tell you if the guy is in there or not.
Okay, I think I'm gonna just go with the answer and lock it in as Joe Ingles.
Is the leading scorer in a Jazz jersey that's currently
still active, right?
Yes.
Final answer.
I'm going to lock it in.
Okay, no phoning friends, nothing. Joe Ingles. Survey says?
Jace, we went 2 out of 3 today.
Dang it! Who was it?
It was our great Donovan Mitchell, who just left us. He is actually the leading current active Jazz scorer of all time.
But see, the reason I'm thinking that is because Ingles is above him on the 3-point list.
There you go.
Longer time there.
There you go.
It was a shot in the dark. I'm honestly shocked. That's okay though.
Well, I'm sorry you have to hold the title for a week of the worst. So there you go.
Until someone else knocks you off that cow turd, you're there to stay.
Wow. Hey, I'm actually shocked. I thought that was. I thought Mitchell was too easy too. You said you were ramping him up, and that one was hard. So I thought it was too easy to guess.
We're playing some mind games. Interesting. Gordon Hayward was next.
I shouldn't have guessed. I should just went with my gut. So
always go with the gut.
Well, hey, Jace, you're incredible. We really appreciate you coming on and spending the time with us. And guess what? You get to shout out the next contestant. Do you have anybody in mind you're thinking about that you want to call out?
Yeah, so I'm going to call out my cousin, who's also, I know Kowser said that I was a season ticket holder. I split him with my cousin. I'm going to call him out. I'm not sure if he'll do it, but I'm going to call him out. I'll give you his number, and if he says no, I have someone else in mind. You could shoot me a text, and I can get you his number. But
what's your cousin's name? Let's shame him right now if he says no.
His name is Carter Coleman. A crazy story. The last Jazz game I was at, which would have been Detroit last Wednesday, he was on the halftime show and actually won the halftime show. He was like guessing all this crap and stuff.
No way.
What?
See, he's set up perfectly for know it or blow it. He has to come on.
He has to. Now, I'm saying he's going to blow it worse than me just because I have to, but I'm going to nominate him.
If you want to throw him a question, too, let us know, and we'll make it tough for him.
Oh, yes. Okay. That's perfect.
Hey, Jace, we really appreciate you again. Thank you again for coming on the show, and tell your friends.
Thank you. Sorry to disappoint.
No worries.
I know I'm a failure of a Jazz fan now. I'm sorry, Jazz Nation.
Shame.
Just make it up to us by being the loudest fan in the arena next time you go.
Oh, don't worry. I will be.
Hey, Jace, take care. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. See you.
Have a good one.
Bye.
I love hearing stories.
What a guy.
People.
I'm excited for this other guy to show up and tell us this halftime story.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, because you have your own, which is pretty interesting.
Yeah, but we don't have to go there right now.
We might have to compare the greatest halftime personal experiences ever between you two.
I'm going to pass on that.
Well, I'm not, and I can share the story because I was there. So,
oh, man. Upcoming games. Let's get it. We finally have a home stretch worth noting. So we're going to find out if this schedule has been killer enough to result in our demise.
Which, by the way, that was my vote, was the schedule.
Okay, so we're going to find out how wrong Tyson was or how right he was. We have 8 of the 9 next games are at home, and we have 6 in a row coming up.
Wow. And we're pretty good at home thus far in the season. So let's see, again, if that stat is actually a true vision of who we are as a team. What do you got? I mean, the next 4 games before we're back on the podcast, we got the Bulls, Clippers, Pacers, Portland, all at home. How do you feel about those matchups?
They're all right around that 500 spot. Bulls maybe a little under, but Jazz, believe it or not, have one of the best records against 500 teams or above. So we play really good against good teams, which is interesting. So I'm excited to play the Clippers again. The series is 1-1.
Right.
We've each won at home, I believe.
Sounds right.
And so they get to come to our place, and we'll see how the series ends up. We have Chicago before that. And then we have the Indiana Pacers, who are surprising a lot of people this year.
Right.
And then Damian Lillard in Portland is coming for a revenge because we did beat them in Portland.
Yeah,
a few games ago.
Yeah, and Portland's also kind of been, it's interesting. Anybody in the West really could say that they're surprising everybody with their performance this year. It's interesting. No, there is no dynasty here thus far in the season. I mean, the Golden State Warriors, obviously. But again, they had a rough go at the beginning, and I think they're going to settle out and just really show their true colors as the season gets on. But I love playing the Warriors, by the way. I can't wait till we play them again. They're a fun team.
Which of these 4 games is your game to watch? You get to watch one game this week. Which game are you watching? Which one's the go-to?
If I won tickets front row and I got to pick one of these games to go to, it's either going to be the Clippers or the Portland Blazers, and I think it's going to come down to Clippers.
Yeah, regardless of Paul George playing or not?
I would like Paul George to play.
I would too.
But ever since Joe Ingles left, it's just not as fun to play against Paul George. Let's be honest.
Touche.
Which was your pick? What's your pick?
I think I'd go with the Clippers.
Yeah.
Zubac, I don't know if you heard about him. He kind of hurt us again, when we played him earlier. Last night, he goes for 31 points and 29 rebounds. Something that hasn't been done for a long time in the NBA.
He's a bench, right? He's.
I think he does start
because of Paul George.
No, he does start.
Oh, he is a starter,
but there's been games he plays like half the game. So I think it's a lot of matchup based. So,
so my opinion on Zubac is he needs to settle down. Okay, okay. When he plays us, he needs to settle down. I don't want to see that type of energy. I don't want to see that type of performance. Just chill out. We got to play some mind games with that guy. I don't want to see his name on the highlight reel at all.
Yeah, the Clippers game will be fun. It is 1-1. So whoever wins this game is taking the series.
Yeah, for sure. I think it'll be fun. I think our home stretch is going to be a lot of fun for Utah Jazz fans. So if you guys are there, cheer loud. Make sure that everybody knows that the Vivint Arena is the hardest one to play in because we are the best fans, no doubt about it. I voted for it.
So it's got to be true.
I haven't seen the results, but I did vote.
Were there other voters?
No, I mean, I just typed it up at my desk.
Oh, man. Okay, so out of these 8 out of the 9 games are at home, what do you think we go as far as the 8 home games? How many of these 8 games do we win?
I do expect to hear your answer to this as well because it's not fair if you don't. Another survey that only I take. I'm going to say 6 out of 9 we win.
Okay. I'm going to go, we are 6-2 at home right now. I'm going to say we go another 6-2 at home.
I love it.
On these 8. We're going to stay with the metrics, the history, and go with that.
All right, let's do it. I'd be happy.
Hey, thank you everybody for listening. You've been listening to Jazz Beats. I am Jackson.
This is Tyson.
And we're happy to be here. Thank you again. Love you guys. Take care. Go Jazz.